One played over 3 days from the 19th to the 21st of next month. And if you can't get tickets, you can always enjoy it here with us on Eurosport. We'll be there throughout the 3 days of action, but those tickets are available now. If you go to the World Snooker website, you'll get all the details you need. The tactical battle, meanwhile, continues in the early stages of frame 3. John Higgins failed in his attempts to get the snookers he needed, by the way, so it is one apiece now on table 1 between Higgins and Joe Perry.
Well, there was a chance of the pot there, but the priority, of course, was to get the white back to the baulk cushion. He's done very well there. David needs a similar shot here, of course. You've always got to be careful that you don't start pushing reds over the corner pockets. I think I was one of the best at that, Phil, when I was playing my safety. Unbelievable.
Well, you were just trying to give your opponent an even break, weren't you? Yeah. Typically generous of you.
Yes, lulling him into a false sense of security. Give him the first couple of frames. Didn't always work, though.
Well, things in danger of getting rather awkward in this frame, with reds beginning to congregate on the cushions. Black remains available to the right top pocket. Terrific pot from Morris. Struck that one very sweetly, didn't he?
Well, he's got some cue power, the lad, hasn't he? Got all the shots. It just needs some experience under his belt now. And 2 or 3 years down the road, no.
Mentioned that he first turned pro back in 2006, so he has been around for a while. Did get as high as 55 in the rankings, but he's dropped off the tour a couple of times, got back via Q School, as we mentioned earlier. And this, by far and away, the biggest success of his career to date, to reach a major quarter-final.
He gets a 2-year exemption now, doesn't he, coming through the Q School? So, you know, it's the first year just to put yourself into position, second year to really consolidate. You know, before it only used to be 1 year, and the pressure was on, really. So tough to stay on. Now these guys have 2 years in which to establish themselves, which I think is right, actually.
Well, you certainly have to earn your place, don't you, through Q School? Very competitive. The ranking points Morris is earning here, that current ranking of 145 will soon improve 30 pretty dramatically. Signalled his ability at the age of 14 when he went to the semi-finals of the European Under-19 Championship. Quite an achievement for a 14-year-old. He looks like he's got a good temperament. Nice even pace around the table. And gradually manoeuvring himself into a position of strength in this third frame. bit unlucky not quite to get the cannon he was looking for.
Yeah, the option was to leave the white near the top cushion and be a little bit annoyed with himself that he hasn't landed on that red, because he did have that option. Well, it's only a safety now.
John Higgins is at it again in frame 3 on a break of 50. Joe Perry having levelled the match at 1-all. Match continuing now on Eurosport 1, of course. Semi-finals day tomorrow, when we go from the best of 11, or the best of 9 I should say, to the best of 11. First to 6 frames. And the final played over 17, first to 9, but all that is to come. Meanwhile, rather loose safety from Matthew Stevens. Sees the cue ball travel back down the table. Half a chance here for Morris with one good red. Can stay on the black. Played it well. Wriggled that one in, it nearly stayed out.
It tried its best.
8. Nine.
I've still got the problem of those 4 reds there, but just pop this black in first and then try and get an angle to disturb those. Ideally, it'd be better to be on the, well, where he is now, on the black. But I don't think he can get there, so it's all about where he positions the white here. I don't know if you can screw straight back from this red and land there again, that would be perfect. Well, he's got the angle.
7.
Well played, that's perfect. Well, the frame could be about this net shot now. The 2 reds are set, you can push the right on one to that corner, but just go into these full-blooded. He gets a good split. Well, it should be 2-1 to him. Oh, that's unlucky. Could have been better.
24.
John Higgins heading for another big century on table 1.
David Morris, 24.
Matthews undercutting that red. And the gasps from the crowd on table 1 are for a missed black by John Higgins on the cusp of his 533rd century. So no century break for Higgins, but he won't mind too much because he's restored his lead against Joe Perry. Higgins 2-1 to the good.
Yes, that was a shame. The break broke down on 97, just overcut the black.
This, meanwhile, is the ball that David Morris needs to move 2-1 in front himself.
Tell you what, Phil, he's looking comfortable, isn't he?
7.
Well, we talked about his lack of experience on the big stage. He looks right at home, doesn't he?
8.
Would have been disappointed to lose the first frame, having had chances to win it. Missed a couple of relatively straightforward blacks, but that hasn't fazed him. He's put that disappointment behind him, and he's responded with 2 straight frames.
Well, I think the next one's going to be interesting, isn't it really? You know, from Matthew's point of view as well.
15.
Well, yes, a big frame, obviously. Difference between 3-1 and 2-0, 2-2.
15.
That red doesn't matter. Good stuff from David Morris. Very mature performance thus far against Matthew Stevens, who led 1-0, but now finds himself trailing by 2 frames to 1. One more frame to come before our mid-session interval. 5, of course, is the target.